bother you to read in the car when you're traveling?
To read in the car?
Yeah.
Not really.
Like motion sickness or anything? It might be a little bit bumpy today because it's kind of windy, but it's no problem as far as flying.
Okay.
That's no big deal, but I just want to give you a little warning if it's a little bumpy up there. And you feel like you're getting little butterflies in your stomach from it. Most people don't, so you'll probably be okay.
All right.
So, but this isn't going to be a pleasure thing. This is going to be a working thing. I'm going to work you a little bit today, okay?
Okay.
We're going to have a little bit of ground school, a little bit of lesson out in the hangar here, and then we'll get the airplane out and pre-flight it, and we'll get in and see if we can get the thing in the air, and we'll give you a little bit of stick time on the airplane too.
He's down there trying to figure out what's going on.
I already figured it out. It didn't take me long.
It was supposed to be a surprise.
It was like the first sentence I got it.
Okay. Okay.
So come on in the hangar. Okay.
Sweet.
After your 18th birthday, you can't be a young eagle, so you just got into the deadline. That's the good news.
My 4 days.
Yeah. There you go. And you get a logbook so we can log the time we fly today.
Okay.
You can put that in, and if you ever go to take flight lessons, that'll count towards your total hours. So you can say, hey, I already got an hour, and here's the logbook, I can prove it, okay?
All right.
And Donna, if you can, maybe you can fill out some of this information on Kenny. It just has a Young Eagles registration form. And what happens, drag, and the wing creates lift, and the propeller creates thrust, okay? And the airplane moves around 3 different axes. We've got an axis if you draw it right straight through the wing this way. Around that, the airplane rotates around the axis using this elevator here, which is your pitch control, so that airplane will rotate around that axis, okay? And we got a vertical axis that goes down right through the middle of the cockpit down this way, and the airplane turns on that axis in this way in relationship to the rudder. You input the rudder, that's the way that airplane turns. Then you've got a longitudinal axis that goes right through the middle of this fuselage, and the airplane turns around that axis with your ailerons. That's how the airplane turns and bangs. Okay, the airplane, when the rudder, you actually steer the airplane. In other words, the heading, which direction you want the airplane to go, you turn it with the rudder if you need to. You turn with the airplane, though, the wing is lifting in which direction, where it's like that. Straight up. Okay, when you tip it 45 degrees, which way is the wing lifting? 45 degrees, so it pulls the airplane around into a turn. So when you turn with a component of lift, which is lifting you around in that turn, and you steer with the rudder, change the head. So that's basically the 3 different axes that the airplane is operating. So that gives you a little bit. And the reason, you've heard of the Vanelli theory about how a wing lifts. If you look at a wing, it's curved like this and flat on the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
And the air travels fast. Their travel has to travel further on the top than it does on the bottom, so you create a high pressure on the bottom of the wing and a low pressure on the top. Okay, so you're good to go with that. And the next thing we want to do is we want to do a little pre-flight on this airplane. What we want to do is look at it and make sure that it's airworthy to fly. We don't want to fly this thing if there's something wrong with it or whatever. And to do that, we have a checklist. So we got a pre-flight checklist, and we want to go through this, and it says on the takeoff, on our pre-flight takeoff, we want to do the outside of the airplane, so we want to check it tells us to check our brakes. So we want to make sure there's no brake fluid leaking out. Watch your head. There's a lot of stuff to bump your head on these airplanes. We want to make sure there's no brake fluid coming out of the brakes, or the wheels look like they're aired up and everything. It says doors. We want to check our doors. What are we doing? When we get in the airplane, we'll check the controls and the wing flaps. What we're doing, Kenny is checking for water. We want to make sure there isn't any water in this fuel. That's not for airplanes to run with water. So we'll take a sump out of this tank, and then we'll take one out of the left tank to make sure that we don't have any water in the fuel. You just hold it up, see if there's any junk in it, or you can see water. If there's water in that fuel, it would have a definite line across there. So we want to make sure that that's. So it looks like our fuel's good to go. So that's good on our checklist. And it says our static source. We've got a little static vent here for our instruments. We want to just make sure that there isn't a mud dauber that's plugged that up or anything like that. So we check that out. Control surfaces. You take a look at our flaps here. I want to make sure that this is the big things is these things don't come off on us when we're flying. You don't want to lose a flap or an aileron. So what we want to do is check our hinge points, that all those safety things are safety fly down here. Looks like our elevators. There's attach points here with the pins in them. You just visually check those, look at them, make sure they look pretty good. On the other side of the airplane. Want to kind of make sure you don't have any nicks from gravel in your propeller. Check this side of the airplane and everything looks good on the attach points.